thanks for joining me at my channel, Gluten Free Goddess. Today I'm going to teach you how to make cheesecake number 17 in the Instapot with my own little twist to make it keto and gluten-free. So in order to make it gluten-free and keto, we're going to use almond flour. Today I have Trader Joe's. I've used Blue Diamond, but you can use any almond flour that you choose. I really like the nutritional value of the almond flour. It is low carb, it has some fiber, and it has some good protein in it. For the sugar substitute, we're going to use Swerve, and we have granulated, and we also have powdered Swerve. I've used other sugar substitutes, but I really prefer Swerve because it doesn't leave like an aftertaste. It makes your cooking, your baking, pretty normal like it should be. So let's look at some of the ingredients we're going to need today. For the gluten-free crust, we're going to use 2 cups of almond flour. We're also going to need 7 tablespoons of the Swerve powdered sugar, 7 tablespoons of butter, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. For the cheesecake, we're going to use 16 ounces of cream cheese. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2/3 a cup of the Swerve that's granulated, half a cup of the sour cream, 2 eggs, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now it's really important that your dairy is at room temperature, so that means the sour cream, the cream cheese, and the eggs need to be sitting out for room temperature. Otherwise, your cheesecake will end up being lumpy. Let's look also too at some of the equipment that we're going to need. We have our Instapot. We're going to need parchment paper to line the Fat Daddio pan. Has a removable bottom. And we're also going to need a hand mixer. So let's get started on that crust. We're starting our cheesecake crust with 2 cups of almond flour in a skillet, and we're going to toast it. So we're kind of browning it. It's on medium heat, and it should start browning around 4 to 5 minutes. But you don't. So our almond flour is starting to brown. Colors kind of change to a golden. And I think I'm going to get it a little bit darker. It's really important that you toast it. It just gives it this extra flavor. Okay. So that looks really good. So now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. We're going to put this in a bowl. So we have this nice golden color. It's very similar to graham cracker crumbs. And we're going to add our 7 tablespoons of confectioners Swerve and our 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then they do call for just a pinch of kosher salt. So we're going to mix that all in. Then we're going to add our 7 tablespoons of butter. And mix up that crust. Oh, it smells so good. I love almonds. I think I could just eat the crust like this. So we're going to mix that all up, and then we're going to put it in a parchment paper lined pan that I had mentioned before. I use the Fat Daddio. It's a 7-inch with a removable bottom. That looks good. Okay. So here is our Fat Daddio, and that is lined on the bottom and on the sides. And we're just going to add the crust right in there. So once we spread it out, we also want to press it down as best as possible. You can use, I just use a cup to press it down. And the method I use is I just put it in the freezer until we're ready to use it. So, time to put it in the freezer. We're going to start with our sugar mixture, and that is 2/3 of the Swerve granulated sugar and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Just going to mix that together. Okay, put that aside, and then we're going to get our cream cheese. So I'm going to make this a dense cheesecake as opposed to creamy, and so the beating with the mixer is going to be a little different. So here is our 16 ounces of cream cheese, and for dense I'm just going to do 10 seconds on low, and creamy would be 1 minute. Then we're going to scrape down the sides and do half of the sugar mixture, and that's going to be for 20 to 30 seconds. If it was a creamy version, you would do it for 1 minute. Then we're adding the half a cup of sour cream, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Two. And this again, you're going to do 20 to 30 seconds for dense and a minute for creamy. Then we're going to add our eggs. So we do 1 egg at a time, and beat that for 15 to 20 seconds, and that would be the same for dense or creamy. Okay, so we're ready to put this on top of our crust. Okay, so I just took the frozen crust from the freezer, and we are ready to put the cheesecake batter on top. Ugh, it smells so good. Now there's going to be air bubbles, so we're going to have to try and tap the air bubbles out as best as we can. And we can do that by tapping the pan on the counter to help release the bubbles. And you can kind of see them coming up. This helps the batter to settle in. You can even break them up with a fork if you want. And once you get it to a point where you're satisfied and there's not as many bubbles coming to the top, then you're ready to cook it. So let's stick it in our Instapot. Okay, so we're ready to cook it. We're going to make an aluminum foil sling for the cheesecake to put it in so that we can easily take it out. There is also a rack that comes with your Instant Pot. That'll go in, but the handles are a little short, so you don't want to burn yourself when everything's hot and you're taking the cheesecake out. So you definitely need that rack in there and a cup of water. And then we're going to put the cheesecake in after we got all of our air bubbles out. And tuck the foil down. Okay, and then the cheesecake is in the Instapot. We need to push manual. We need high pressure, which it's on. And then we need to adjust the time to 26 minutes. And then we also need to make sure that the venting is closed, which it is. Okay. It'll start. We're gonna do natural release after the 26 minutes. Okay, so once it's out, there is water and condensation on top that we need to absorb with a paper towel. So we want to make sure that we get all that water. And then once we get that water absorbed, we're going to let this cool for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to remove the paper. That's what I like to do. Okay, so the cheesecake is cooled 15 minutes and I removed the parchment paper. And the top is not smooth, there's a few dents, so we're gonna put a sour cream topping on that to help smooth it out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a half a cup of sour cream and 1 tablespoon of the Swerve granulated sugar and a half teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that up. So this is going to make a nice sour cream topping for the cheesecake and smooth it all out. And then we're going to chill it for 4 to 8 hours. And then you could serve it. However, I like to chill it overnight so that the flavor sets in better. The cheesecake is chilled overnight, so we're ready to take it out of the pan. It's all set. You can use a can, a cup, whatever you want to do to release the bottom. Definitely use a knife around the edges to release the cheesecake from the sides. And then you're just going to push down to release the cake. Oh my gosh. It looks wonderful. Look at that almond flour crust. Wow. And that sour cream topping is perfect on top. That looks perfect. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this gluten-free and keto cheesecake as much as I do. It's looking good.